Hey everyone, my name is Stefan Bauman, and I'm the host of Paradigm Shift Embracing Creativity. Today we are going to be interviewing Christopher Pavelski from Ornery Onion Farms. And before we get on to that, first, I would just like to make a quick mention of our sponsor, EC Media Group. They're helping us to produce the program and to get this out to you guys. Also, please, anybody, if you can like, share, and comment during the show, actually, we'll actually see your comments pop up on the screen and we'll interact with you. So it'll keep it more interactive and it'll help us to build up our audience as well. As far as sponsor as well, they're going to be doing a program called The Real Pitch, which puts young video makers in front of people who can actually give them contracts. So it allows them to be able to show what they can do and have them bid on it and get their work out there. So that's called The Real Pitch, and that's being hosted with the EC Media Group, LLC. And coming up, we have a couple of really cool events that are going to be going on in the area. We have the Mid-Hudson Comic-Con, actually. So this is going to be at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center. This is something I actually would like to go to. I don't think I'm going to have time to go to it this year because I'm actually going to be visiting family. But for somebody who likes to take photos of people in unusual situations, this is like, you can't get much better than that other than if you go to like the Javits Center down in the city. So that's going to be from August 28th and 29th at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie. Now, after that, we also have the Dutchess Fair. That's going on or the Dutchess County Fair, I should say. That one is going to be going on from August 24th through 29th. And as you can see, they have all the rides and everything. They also have a huge section for 4-H, and it allows people to really get an idea of what these kids are working on, like with their animal competitions or the crafts that they're working on, in addition to all the normal stuff you would do at a fair. So it's a lot of fun. I haven't gone to any fairs this year yet. I would like to, but I don't think I'm going to be able to squeeze it in. So if you go, let me know how it was. Last thing that I would like to see, but again, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it to, is the New York International Air Show. I got to go to that a couple of years ago, and that was, having the I think it's the Blue Angels. When they came in, man, it's pretty awesome. With just the noise of it as they're flying overhead, it's crazy. And when you start seeing these guys flying in formation and doing flips and things like that, they must be out of their damn mind, if you ask me. Um, it's a little scary to me. But again, that's going to be on August 28th through 29th at the Orange County Airport in Montgomery. So this year, it's not going to be at the, usually they have it at Stewart Airport, but this year they're doing it at the Orange County Airport. It's right over by Route 416 in Montgomery. So, and last but not least, let's bring on our guest, Christopher. Hey, man, how are you doing?
How you doing, Stefan? It's an honor and a privilege to be a guest on your program. Greatly appreciate it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Likewise, it's great to see you again. How's everything going on the farm?
Uh, Going pretty well. This is our second year of transitioning into doing part monocropping, just onions, but doing mixed vegetables, a wide variety, and some fruits too. And direct sales to the public versus selling to wholesale to reprocessor.
It's a lot of changes. So let me rewind actually just a minute. Do you mind giving a quick background of like who you are, like what your farm is? Just tell us a little bit about the history and why you had to make the changes over to what you're doing now.
Sure. I am a fourth generation farmer in the Black Dirt area of Orange County, which is right near the border with New Jersey. It's the largest collection of muck soil under cultivation in the United States. There are other pockets in New York State and
what is muck soil exactly?
It's basically highly organic soil that was once swampland and converted into farmland. So it's got a lot of organic material in it. It's an incredibly rich soil. It's incredibly dark in color.
Oh, it is black. They're not kidding.
Yep. And it makes it kind of unique. It's a minority soil. There's not a lot of it in the United States. The largest pocket of it actually is the Florida Everglades, but what's in Orange County is the largest under cultivation. Wow. So fourth generation, I was raised in the farm. I started working on it when I was 5 years old. Mm-hmm. I started doing heavy equipment, driving tractors and trucks on the road when I was 11. Wow. And basically worked like an adult. And times were different. Back then, that's what kids did. And even in my school, I went to Florida high school and Florida grade school. The bulk of the kids worked on farms, and that's what you did. You did tractor work if your family owned the farm. And today I wouldn't conceive of having my kids at age 11.
Not with the people who are on the road today.
No, and my kids, were more adept at dealing with Pokemon than though my son, my oldest son, did start operating the forklift like at 16, 17. The one that I started at age 11. Not too bad. So I grew up on the farm, and then I went away to college. I actually have a master's degree in broadcasting and film studies from the University of Iowa.
That I didn't realize. That's actually cool.
Yeah, I was a PhD student, and I passed my qualifying exam and received my master's and took a leave of absence. And the name of the farm is Pavelski Farms, and my part of it is the Ornery Onion Company, and it's also we have a Facebook. We actually have a Facebook and an Instagram page, and we have actually two of them. One is the Ornery Onion, and the other one specifically for the garden is the which is our greens is the Garden of Mount Adam and Mount Eve. So
okay.
So if you go on
Mount Adam and Eve.
Mount Adam and Mount Eve, because actually sitting behind us, literally behind the fields, are Mount Adam and Mount Eve, or Mount Eve and Mount Adam. They're two small little mountains, and got a little bit of minor fame. A painter painted a picture of it back in the 19th century, and it hangs, I believe, in a gallery in North Carolina.
Does it? But they found mastodons there too, I believe,
in the area.
Yeah,
and that's actually in the photograph. That's Mount Eve, and Mount Adam is to the right, and Mount Eve's got the slightly higher peak by a few feet.
And that's off to the left of the frame, right?
To the right of the frame. Mount Adam would be to the right of the frame, closer towards New Jersey.
Gotcha.
So on the farm, we grow, like I mentioned now, we were onions. I should go back to the narrative. And I met my wife at the University of Iowa. She was from Wisconsin, didn't grow up on a farm. And we got married in 1990, and we lived in Wisconsin for 3 years. And then we moved back here in 93. And I started farming part-time then through 95. And then in 96, I was also teaching at Orange County Community College. I taught public speaking and speech communication studies. And then starting
what caused you to do the transition?
Well, as far as what? As far as
like going from being a teacher to going full-time farming?
That's a great question. I actually was offered a full-time job teaching in the speech communication studies department at OC, and I turned it down. And it's funny, I gave a presentation to a garden group in Warwick last year, and one of the women that was part of the garden group was a secretary for the department, and she remembers me because when I was an adjunct, and she said how quite often the guy who was the chair of the department mentioned how he wished I had taken the job. And there's a lot of times I wished I had taken the job too, because starting in 96, when I started farming full time, we had a series of weather disasters and other issues. But
they haven't really slowed down either.
No, it's been a lot of, I think due to climate change, there's been significant issues with the weather and the climate. In some levels, I do wish I'd taken that job. In other levels, I'm very happy I didn't. It afforded me a lot of experience stuff. I mean, the bottom line is I grew up on the farm. I started when I was 5 years old working on it. And it's like a drug. And it's hard to give up that habit and to be able to say, I'm not going to do that anymore. I mean, that's me.
There's nothing like having your hands in the dirt like that, man.
It's hands and knees in the heat, and I'm thinning lettuce in that picture. And on my hands and knees. And there is, in being on the farm, I mean, there's the actual farming aspect I thoroughly enjoyed, including growing onions. And I liked, some of the jobs are very dangerous. Some are very, very dirty and very difficult. But, I got to, when I would spray herbicides, my herbicide tractor I put a thing on it for my big, huge boom box. And I mean, I would just be driving down, and you'd hear Led Zeppelin, or AC/DC Highway to Hell as I'm coming down spraying. And it was just, and then it would go into ABBA Dancing Queen. So it was just, it was a nice mix, but it's nice to be able to, I would be on a tractor, have the headphones on like this, listen to music, singing out loud. And
Yep.
I got to be outside, and I got to spend time with my family, in particular my father. And a lot of people don't get that same opportunity. And I spent
Yeah.
more time with my father than most. You could take dozens of people combined.
Especially
So
nowadays, like with the way like you have to have a 2 income household just to
yeah,
survive for the most part. It's
yeah,
there's very little time left in the day to do anything.
yeah.
And so when what you switched from just doing onions, and you said you switched from doing just like the monocropping to doing a more diverse farm. Like, what was the reason for that transition?
Well, basically, what it came down to is that 2019 was an extremely difficult year. We've had issues over the last few years. And we basically farming production east of the Mississippi River dealing with Canadian dumping, and they've basically been dumping and affecting agricultural products up and down the eastern seaboard since NAFTA. And 2019 was particularly bad. I had a decent crop, and I couldn't sell it, and I would go to the local shop right in Warwick, and it'd be filled with Canadian onions. And
I
they
remember when
just,
I saw you that year, you were telling me about that.
and it's not just, I talked to growers in Michigan who grew celery and mixed vegetables and onions, same experience. I gave a presentation to growers in Vineland, New Jersey, and they grew all kinds of different greens, and same experience. The moment Canada enters the market, the price plummets, and it
Really,
stays low until you're out of it, and then it will rise. And yet you check the market prices in Canada itself, and their prices are high.
it's
And
not even
that's
legal, is it?
no, that's the definition of dumping. The problem is, and I've been raising complaints about it for 20 some years. Years ago, I had a meeting in the Canadian Embassy in DC regarding it. But the problem is to raise a complaint with either the International Trade Commission, the ITC, or the Department of Commerce, which is the two agencies that you would raise complaints either for dumping or unfair trading practices. You have to be commodity specific. And that means you have to have a commodity entity to represent you. And a lot of vegetables and fruits don't have that. The best of my knowledge, there is no cilantro organization. There is an onion
Wait, you
organization,
have to
but
have an organization representing your crop
well,
in
basically,
order.
you have to get that kind of level of an organization can generate that kind of level of pressure. Matter of fact, when I was down and I was talking in 2019, it's like Senator Schumer's office. He said, "This just can't be you, Chris, complaining about this. We need an entity. We need organizations to say that this is a problem. It can't just be one farmer or
Mm,
a few individual farmers." And though you don't need to hire a lawyer to do a trade complaint, it's very complex and it helps, and but it's very expensive. Just a
yeah.
couple of years ago, the tart cherry growers of Michigan filed a trade complaint against Turkey, and I think they spent something like $1 or $2 million in legal fees to file a complaint.
Uh, that's a lot of
Yeah,
money.
a lot of money. A lot of money that growers who are taking a beating don't necessarily have. So they need to. This is something, a process that needs to be modified, because the issues that we had aren't commodity specific. There was practices that they were doing with insurance and the like that was basically very, very, very obviously trade statute violating. Matter of fact, when I sent some of the materials about it to Senator Gillibrand's office, their staff said, this is not WTO compliant." But again, the process to file the complaint with Commerce or ITC is extremely Byzantine. It needs to be, instead of commodity specific, it needs to be based on what the practice is, because
Yeah,
what
it
they're
strangles you
doing,
otherwise.
what they're doing is affects they're doing a practice like an insurance thing that involves or is helping or protecting a wide variety of, on their end, of commodities.
Got it.
So,
So
so basically, I took a huge beating. I lost a significant amount of money, and when it came time to in 2020, and this is then COVID kicked in,
mhm.
and which exacerbated it. And it was, for me to go and farm another year, I would have to take out even more debt that I already hold.
Like you weren't
And
even covering the cost of what you were doing at that point.
no, I'm already in debt to USDA for various weather disasters, a significant amount of money.
Yeah.
And I owed a bunch from not 2019. I'd have to take out even more debt, and you're talking then it would be in the range. My debt would be in the range of $500,000 or so. So
Wow.
I sat down with my wife and we just said for the time being, we can't do this like this in this way anymore. So then we pivoted and started doing the mixed vegetables and the greens.
So you grow a lot of corn and other things as well. Like, what are some of the vegetables that you're growing?
Oh, a load of stuff. We grow a bunch of cucurbits, cucumbers and different types of zucchinis and butternut squash, delicata squash, acorn squash, and then different variety of pumpkins and watermelons and cantaloupes and honeydews. So a lot of that.
Any tomatoes or anything like that?
About 120 different tomato plants, a wide variety of different kinds, wide variety of pepper plants, different type, iceberg lettuce, bib lettuce.
Do you stake yours
romaine.
up, or do you let them grow kind of like as bushes?
The first year, we actually just let them grow, and then we had a huge mess for picking. So this year, my wife came up with a staking system, and it was funny because on Twitter, some of my Twitter followers laughed about it. They said, "I ain't gonna make it." But actually, we had to modify and add some additional stakes that are a little bit more rugged, but it has held. And so we've been able to we made a mistake that we didn't put more spacing with tomatoes. We have a hard time getting in between. Yeah, basically it's like playing what was that game? Twister. It's like playing Twister to try and get in there to get some of the tomatoes, but we you learn. That's actually a great variety that we got from from Ukraine, and it's a tomato that's yellow and green and striped, and it has a tangy taste to it. It's a really
Is it called a tiger tomato, or?
I believe so. I believe that's what it is.
I think I might have that growing as well. I'm not sure if it's the exact same variety, but it has a similar kind of pattern on it. Yep. Now, what are some of the challenges that what are some of the solutions that you've come up, like creative solutions that you come up with in order to overcome the fact that your primary source of income is basically had to shift into something completely different? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, it's not easy. We're looking into different kind of ways in which to adjust. And one is, of course, like mentioned, we switched to growing multiple crops and we sell directly to consumer. People come to the farm and they buy from us directly. We have a little buyer clubs card, so you can just pay cash and we take, you contact you, message me on Facebook or Instagram and the like, and then.
So that's different than a CSA, right?
Yeah, we didn't do a CSA because I didn't like that model in the sense of I don't like people having to take something that they necessarily don't want. Like, say, I have a bunch of beets. I don't want people getting beets if they don't want it. I want people to be able to buy what they want. And so, and whatever we don't use, we've been donating to the gleaning program at Cooperative Extension. So we've been doing a lot of donations with them. But we want the model where this is what they want. So we grow a wide variety of things, and hopefully there's something for, as it comes in that people like. But that's one thing. Another thing we did, we came up with a label, the Ornery Onion Company, and with the help of a reality TV show producer by the name of Daryl Silver, who's a genius. We follow each other on Twitter, and he's the one that suggested that we have this for the purpose of merchandise. And he was the one that got us to do it, and my hat's off to him. And
you got some pretty clever logos on there.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many funny things you come up with the Onion. But it's a whole bunch of merch, mostly shirts, but there's some coffee mugs and a few other things. And we're adding stuff as we go, but all related to the Onion. So they say things like simmer down, cut the crying, be careful, I'm thin-skinned. For social distances, social distance equals eat plus exhale, or if you smell me, I'm too close. Our masks said warning, bad breath. So we had baby onesies that say cut the crying. A whole bunch of different. When fried, add wine. Big
do you
still cry.
Do you also do like mugs and things like that, or is it just
we have a mug. Yep, we have mugs, and basically we do it all on Spring, which used to be called Teespring, and so it's artist creator design. So we upload the image of what we want and the images on the material, and then when someone orders something, it's printed up. Then so
it's called Spring is the website.
Well, the best way to find it, the easiest way, is to go to orneryonion.com, orneryonion.com, one word. And then if you scroll down the page, you'll see there's a link for the merch, and then that'll take you to the Spring page. Gotcha. Spring's algorithms are really weird. If you were to go to Spring's homepage and type in ornery onion, you
It'll
won't
probably
find
stuff you way down at the bottom.
it. Doesn't even come up. They have a really weird thing where they have to meet certain criteria for it to come up in their own search engine. If you go on Google and type in ornery onion and Spring
Pops
or
right up
Teespring,
immediately.
yes, yeah, immediately it's top thing. But
Yeah.
on their page it doesn't. So just go to orneryonion.com, which is easy to remember. So we're selling that, and then what I'm looking to do also is I've been doing public policy work on a volunteer basis, advocacy for about 25 years, and that, on a
What does that
local
involve? Like,
variety of different issues on the local, state, and federal level involving mostly agriculture, but even some non-agricultural stuff. Like locally, a few years ago, my wife and I worked to get the speed limit changed on the highway in front of our house. And we did. We got the speed limit lowered from 55 to 45 because of
good, because people fly through there like
fly
cars.
through it. An accident after accident has been there.
Yeah.
But mostly issues on the federal level. And the primary things that we worked on over the years has been I've worked on immigration, labor issues, and primarily on the federal level, crop insurance reform, disaster aid, farm bill issues, and the like. So
if people wanted to support, like, if people wanted to find out what some of these issues that you're advocating for are, and if they wanted to lend their support, like, what could they do to get involved?
the one is to look at. We have a website for that as well, and it's farmroot, FARMROOT.org. And on there, you could see the issues and the like. And from there, I'm like right now, I'm looking for clients that may have, that may be interested in my services in doing advocacy. I maintain contacts on all levels of government and on agricultural issues. So, and I'm constantly coming up with different proposals and ideas for programs. One of the ones I've been working on for a long period of time is a program called Farm to Food Bank, where I'm looking for. Basically, it's very similar to what New York State now has, a Nourish program.
Yep.
And it's similar to that. But I've been pushing Farm to Food Bank for about over 10 years. And basically, money goes to the states, the state departments of agriculture, based on how many food insecure people they have, and how many fruit and vegetable producers they have. They then allocate it to various food banks and food recovery programs, and the money is used for either the major projects, the building of cold storage, and primarily for the purchase of directly from the farmer of fruits and vegetables. So you would have entities like various food recovery programs or gleaning programs, whatever. They would come to us and they would purchase from us directly whatever we'd have to sell. So it's opening up a market that previously was impossible to.
Better than just throwing it in a compost heap,
That it's a market you can't get. It's a food insecure, so it's a win-win. They're getting fresh produce from the farm. The farmer's getting an entirely new market that wasn't available before, so it's win-win. So that's one of the programs. Another a big one is, and we're looking, it's moving along really well, is a program to forgive the debt of small family farmers. When aid has been done over the last few years, like when President Trump did his aid after his trade wars with China, the bulk of that aid, where he took money from the Commodity Credit Corporation, went to very large operations. And then during the pandemic, there's been money that the PPP program, which is provided for the payroll of operations, and farms have benefited from that too. But the bulk of it has been very large operations. Did
you get anything from the PPP? Because I know a lot of people didn't, myself included.
Yep, and it was skewed to very larger operations, not to smaller people like you and I.
It was a joke.
But this the loan, it would be for small family farmers below a certain level as far as income, and it would benefit roughly 60,000 farms throughout the country, small family farms. And we really need to maintain those farms because I wrote an op-ed last year that appeared in the Albany Times-Union called Unsustainable Disparities. And basically, if we don't do more to protect small family farms, we're going to be gone, and we're going to be coming down to options of one or two for your.
You can't monocrop everything and destroy the entire landscape and expect it to not have a problem.
Right. You can't, if you want to rely on one or two operations for all your food, if you think that's smart public policy, well, I don't. I think it's very unwise, both in the fact that they will rigidly control the market, and secondly, if they fail, that's a catastrophic failure. So you want to maintain that infrastructure of smaller family farms, and this would greatly help. So it actually made the budget resolution for the reconciliation measure for the infrastructure bill, the $3.5 trillion package. It made the budget resolution. It's one of 6 items that is mentioned. So hopefully that's a big hurdle. But hopefully,
because you said when we spoke last time, you said you have to get it tucked into like a budget proposal with a bunch of other stuff for it to actually have any any push behind it, right?
That's where we're hoping it's in there now as a concept, and we hope that the legislative language gets written and it goes into that infrastructure measure, the larger one, the one that we have to go as a reconciliation vote in the Senate. And so this is it's like walking through a minefield and watching the process. But hopefully it's made this first hurdle. Then hopefully it'll get be drafted in the legislative language. And then the way it looks now, it's going to be a battle. You have on one side some moderate Dems who are saying in the House that they want the bipartisan infrastructure measure voted on first. And of course, once that happens, then they're going to vote no on the larger reconciliation measure. And Speaker Pelosi is standing her ground and saying, no, we're going to do both on a simultaneous track, and we're going to vote for both of them. And that's the only way that you'll see both of them pass. So if that happens, if they do that, it'll go to the Senate then, and then the Senate will have to draft their language, vote for the reconciliation measure, because the bipartisan one's already passed the Senate, and then you'll see votes on both of them. So it's going to be an interesting process that the Speaker said she wants a vote on them by October 1st. So we'll see if that timetable can happen.
Now, just because we're running out of time, real quick, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Real quick, Senator Gillibrand is the primary sponsor for it in the Senate and the champion for it, and Congressman Maloney is the primary sponsor in the House, and they're both champions of it, and they are, along with Senator Schumer, fantastic advocate, and now Representative Delgado, the district north of us, are all fantastic advocates in behalf of agriculture.
Okay. And is there anything coming up in the immediate future that you want to share with anybody that's on the horizon for you, or?
Well, the main things is that if you could call, Gillibrand, Schumer, Delgado, if you're in that district, or Maloney, and voice your support of it, the small farm debt forgiveness, that helps. Contact me if you're in the area for fresh produce.
Awesome.
And we're going to have lots of pumpkins and lots of butternut squash, it looks like, and delicata. It's been a bad year for cucurbits. A lot of my vines died, but we'll have some.
Yeah, me too. We're just going to quickly share your, is it best for them to call you or to email you for people to contact you?
The best is to contact me, my cell. Call my cell, 845-772-2600. Call or text me if you're interested in produce and or the public policy stuff. But and the website link, orneryonion.com. And we're trying to keep up to date with them, what we have available. We can kind of lax a little bit, but we're trying to. But the best is to call me and say, hey, what do you got? What's available? We have a state-of-the-art cooler that we fixed up. You have to come and see it. You haven't.
Yeah, I want to.
Because when you came last time, we hadn't constructed it yet. You have to come see it. You'll be impressed. I'll give you corn.
Sweet. Got a bunch of my own, too. So, well, thank you so much for coming on, Chris. It's been very informative. And, yeah, everybody go to his website, orneryonion.com, and check out everything that he's talking about, because this is affecting your lives. It really is.
Greatly appreciate the time.
That, and he got really good food, too. So, it's better than buying it at the supermarket. Thank you so much for coming on, and hope to have you on again sometime soon.
Greatly appreciate it. It was an honor.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Thanks.
And everybody, we will see you next week. Don't forget to tune in at 6 o'clock on Monday evenings for Paradigm Shift, Embracing Creativity.